Thank you for joining me again this week. I want to start with the national news and the new administration taking over in Washington. President Trump signed numerous executive orders that have the potential to impact people who live and work in Montgomery County. We're still reviewing most of them to understand how they'd be implemented and with what impact here. However, there are a few that are already concerning and, quite frankly, an affront to decency and courage. His executive order pardoned all of the rioters in the January 6th riot, overturning convictions and stopping further prosecutions. This directly impacts us here in Montgomery County. We had police officers at the Capitol on January 6th. We have police officers still dealing with the trauma of that day, including with injuries. Pardoning everyone involved in this attempt to take over of our democracy is a chilling message to send to our law enforcement personnel and others. So much for law and order. It's also a sign of our sad state of affairs that President Biden had to issue pardons to those on the January 6th Select Committee, including our own Congressman Jamie Raskin, in order to preemptively protect them from political persecution. These are lawmakers and aides who were simply doing their job to investigate the crimes that happened right in front of our own eyes. Another executive order withdrew the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement at a time when communities across the nation are feeling the impacts of climate change, wildfires in Southern California, hurricanes in the Southeast, the rapidly melting tundra near the Arctic, or flash flooding and mudslides on the East Coast. His actions are a step in the wrong direction. Montgomery County set ambitious goals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2027 and to achieve net zero emissions by 2035. These goals reflect the urgent need for climate action and our commitment to build a sustainable future. While we remain a leader in climate resilience and sustainability, investing in clean energy, expanding public transit, and adopting innovative programs to support our climate action plan, the actions of our current federal government are now going to hamper our efforts instead of enhancing them. To what end is he adopting policies that actually hasten global warming, other than to enrich the oil barons who supported him? Additionally, the president's actions to demonize immigrants is not simply mean-spirited, it's counterproductive. Our immigrant neighbors are vital to the fabric of our community and economy. I support Attorney General Anthony Brown's decision to have Maryland join other states in a lawsuit filed this week to challenge President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. We are also hearing from our LGBTQ+ community who are outraged and concerned about the executive order to dismantle legal and social recognition of transgender people. Last year, I was proud to support the General Assembly's Trans Shield Act, legislation that was co-sponsored by Delegate David Moon and the majority of our House delegation that ensured that those states that banned gender-affirming care can't use the private health records against transgendered Marylanders and their physicians. It's sad and scary that this community, which already suffers from high suicide rates, is often alienated from their own families, is now being victimized by its own federal government. His orders would also effectively shut down an array of programs and practices aimed at reducing and reversing decades of systemic inequalities and discriminatory practices that have disproportionately affected Black Americans. As I mentioned to the crowd at Strathmore during the county's MLK Day celebration, we will not waver in our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. At the core, they want to pretend that slavery never happened. I was glad the Council President Kate Stewart joined me during my media briefing this week. During this briefing, she shared the following.
It is our intent to mitigate any potential harm by maintaining and providing local county services. And the first step of that is making sure our residents are informed. And we did that together in early December when we held the resource fair to make sure that residents are aware of what is available here in Montgomery County and where they can turn for assistance. We need to make sure that our residents know their rights, because that's a key component to battling misinformation.
This week I joined county leaders and friends and family of Lieutenant Christopher Higgins in paying tribute to a hero. The 23-year veteran died this month answering a call for help. On Thursday, we saw an enormous outpouring of support at the Lighthouse Church in Glen Burnie. fire personnel from far and wide came together. Those lucky enough to know Chris had the utmost respect for him. He was a mentor, a role model, a firefighter who could have climbed the career ladder. Instead, he chose to remain a master firefighter because he enjoyed that role. Last week, he was posthumously elevated to the rank of lieutenant. Our community will join his loved ones in continuing to mourn his loss. Next Wednesday, January 29th, more than 150 volunteers will help Montgomery County with the annual point-in-time count of individuals and families experiencing homelessness. The count will identify people who might be residing on the streets, in cars or campgrounds, under bridges, or in similar places. We know the majority of people counted do have some kind of shelter and are not out in these dangerously cold temperatures. If they are found unsheltered, we encourage them to take advantage of our emergency shelters. Over the last 3 years, we've seen a 70% increase in homelessness and a steep increase in families in need of help. Several factors are to blame, including rising rental costs that are unjustified by inflation and the end of pandemic-era assistance from both the state and federal government. While we do have rent control enacted because of the excessive rent increases that were increasing hardships on so many of our residents, units built more recently than 23 years ago are not protected from rising rents. We strive to make homelessness a one-time occurrence here. When someone is experiencing it, Montgomery County is fortunate to have a compassionate leadership in its agencies, dedicated service workers, and a robust infrastructure, and yet we still see people struggle. The information gathered during this count is used at the state, local, and federal levels to allocate resources for individuals and households requiring homelessness assistance. If you know of someone experiencing a housing emergency, have them call 311 to be connected with our housing stabilization services. This week I honored some of the county's special guests for a National Mentoring Month proclamation at the County Council. We see the impact mentors have within our schools and classrooms. When I was a fourth grade teacher at Rolling Terrace Elementary School, I was asked to pick just 4 students from my class to participate in the school's Community Bridges program, and I easily could have put more of my students in that class, as could have the other teachers in fourth grade who had the same limits on the number of students they could place into the program. We clearly needed more money then, and we could use more money now. Mentoring in our schools is not limited to academics. Sometimes a meaningful conversation with someone you admire can teach you a lot about life. It sparks curiosity, engagement, and a desire to learn more. Not all kids can talk to their parents, and not all kids have someone they can talk to and get guidance from. I saw it back then, and it remains true today. The need for mentors far outweighs the supply. Adults can also find mentors to help them with things like job training. I have friends who've helped older immigrants learn English. This is a way to help others fully integrate into our community. As we saw this past weekend with the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service events, the Montgomery County Volunteer Center is there to help. The county partners with numerous groups that could use more volunteers in its mentorship roles. We are grateful for these collaborations and encourage more of them. Please browse through all the opportunities and find something that fits your schedule and interests at montgomeryserves.org. During this time of year, many of our communities are preparing for Lunar New Year on Wednesday, January 29th. The holiday gives us several opportunities to celebrate the vibrant heritage, culture, and incredible contributions of our Asian American community. Montgomery County is proud to be home to 4 of the nation's 10 most diverse cities. Our diversity is not just the statistics, it's a testament to our community's inclusivity and welcoming spirit. The last census found that 160,000 Asian residents in Montgomery County, comprising 16% of our population, made this home. This makes Asian Americans the second fastest growing community in the county. I've consistently heard how welcoming and friendly Montgomery County is on our trips to China, South Korea, Taiwan, India, and Vietnam. We've built a reputation as a community where diversity thrives, and that is something we should be proud of. Lunar New Year celebrations are always a highlight of every year. One of the things I love about Lunar New Year is that the celebrations cover almost 2 months. giving many people multiple times to interact with their friends and their communities and celebrate their hopes for the new year. It's a great tradition, and maybe we ought to try it. I look forward to attending more festivities. So that's a wrap for today. I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back again next week.